The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the third day of March 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications, People's Pharmacy, and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman. He's Larry Marshall Jr. Bro, how you feeling today?
Morning.
Today, bro?
Yep. Even got a workout here this morning, so I'm ready to go.
Hey, folks. See, it's not as bad as Sherry makes it seem. 4 days in a row. I'm telling you, it's not that bad. We miss you though, Sherry. We miss you. I mean, who else am I make fun of getting, the daily play wrong? I haven't had that pleasure with.
I'm over. You know what I mean? I'm undefeated as they.
Wow, his going dick on you, Sherry. His going dick. Don't worry, folks. Sherry be back next week to take the punishment that comes with this job. Leanna is out again today. I spoke to Lee on the phone last night, man. She's not watching, but man, she sounded bad, man. She's like real sick. But anyway, sending Leanna healing vibes, all that stuff.
Yeah,
Larry was talking about it. Don't worry about that, Lee. I'm got you back. Good morning for making us. We were on you, Augustus, but we're actually not going to have a conversation. Just stick with us. We'll have a conversation. The daily play is a name that place. So a name that place today. I think Larry's got this one. You think you got it, Brett?
I'm pretty good with some types of geography, so I'll be all right.
I just hope that we actually have a daily play question for you today, because I don't remember coming up with one. So we'll think of something. But folks, let's get to the question of the morning. So a lot of conversation, I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and there's different articles and so on. So the question of the morning is very simple. We're living in a time where people just feel like, especially young people, there are no opportunities out there, and the opportunities that come, they're internships or low-paying entry-level jobs. And I know what people say, you got to start somewhere. But the question is very simple. Should interns be paid? Should interns be paid? But that's it. Should interns be paid? If you don't mind, I'm going to go share some feedback from social media, because it was on our parent company's LinkedIn page. It was on our Twitter page. Twitter page. And so I'm just going to share some of the response we got, right? So the audience has an idea as to what people think. So 88% of the people responding to the survey on Twitter said, they believe interns should be paid. And then 12% said depends. And then people are asking, some people are like, I'm curious to know what those who are saying depends means, right? I have my own idea about why I would say depends if necessary. And then on our parent company on LinkedIn, 78% said yes, 6% said no, and 16% said depends. But someone went in detail as to why they said no on LinkedIn. They said, I said no, but this depends on the company and work the intern will be doing. The point of having an intern at your organization is for training purposes, not labor. Training purposes, not labor. Interns get paid with industry knowledge so that in the near future, they can boast about the knowledge gained in their professional profile. The time frame of being an intern should be no longer than 3 months, breaks from school, but that's just my opinion. That sounds a lot like NCAA athletes are getting a free education. They don't need to be paid. I don't know. That's kind of. You want me to go on Instagram or you want to go jump in?
Go ahead, go on Instagram.
Okay, let me go on Instagram. I'm going. I see the coach is about to jump in this one, folks. The coach is about to jump in this one. So let's Instagram. We've got it's 100%. 100% yes, they should be paid. And then let me go back to Twitter. Just share some of the comments that have come from people on Twitter. So we've got curious about why some folks think it depends. Work should be compensated. Someone wrote unpaid work is slavery. Another person wrote unpaid internships are racist and classist and have nothing to do with merit or skill. Another person writes always unpaid internships promote class/racial inequities. Another person writes, hell yeah, in this new era, people can't afford to work for free anymore. So this is a big conversation here, big conversation. Coach, over to you.
Well, I think, it's no surprise given our historical stance on forced labor where we're going to stand on this. However, I do recognize that there may be less opportunities for internships if, because companies may just say, all right, well, we won't offer internships if we have to pay. But I think once we delve into that line of no pay, it's ripe more for a situation where some sort of abuse of power can take place, a bit of bullying can happen, and we want to avoid those things. I agree with the person that said no with they explained that it's training, not labor. You know what I mean? I think it's valuable, a training type of thing. But that should still be compensated, in my opinion, because that does kind of, you brought up the comparison to the NCAA athlete, and I was an NCAA athlete on scholarship, and you worked. You know what I mean? Now, was I generating revenue? Possibly. No, I'm pretty sure I wasn't, but it was work, and I would say I don't know if it's generally a trade-off for it.
Okay. And yeah, well, let's go to the audience and then I'll respond. Should interns be paid is the question of the morning. Karen Simmons says yes. Esther K. Harvey says yes. Nachika Trot says yes. Kenton Trot says good morning, TDH. Most definitely, they should be paid. Michelle White, she says, it's not letting me, Michelle. I don't know what happened there.
Yes, even if they are learning, they will still bring value to the role that they are playing.
Sorry, can you? All right, Michelle White says absolutely yes. Even if they are learning, they will still bring value to the role that they are playing. Mishka Fabla, interns should be absolutely paid. They're doing work. They deserve pay. Mishka Fabla says training is work too. And Sam Cat Play says, of course, it is imperative that they get a taste of the working environment, and rightly so. The work they produce still contributes to the end result of the regular employee's work. James Brett, good morning, Marcia Bradshaw. James Brett says, morning, yes. Marcia Bradshaw, yes. Rashida Godwin, yes. So everyone who's tuned in seems to think interns should be paid.
Yeah.
Interns should be paid. Now, I would agree too, but I will say, I understand people in some regards where they may not pay interns. And here we go. So if it's a small company, right? It's a small company. When I say small, I'm talking about 3-4 full-time employees, and they're just starting out. And there's a young person who wants to learn. They're like, oh, I wanna get into this, whatever. Now, there's a line there because some people will call the work internship. But as far as I know, internship should be training. It should be, what do you get? What are they getting from it? Is it school credit? Is it community service? Right? What are they getting from it? And at any point, someone is doing work or contributing, and it's not money or some sort of credit or service, something that's benefiting them outside of you saying they're getting experience, I think it should be illegal. I personally believe it should be illegal. I don't think that in this day and age, in 2022, if you cannot afford to pay someone for the training, no, I'm not saying labor, for the training
Hmm.
that they're doing, then you probably shouldn't be in business.
Yeah. And I think one word that we haven't mentioned that I think really has to remain out of it is, well, two words. One is mandatory, and the other one is volunteer. And
Mhm.
the reason why I'm sort of like, if it's I'm against it, but being devil's advocate, they can always say, well, it's volunteer. It's not being forced.
Correct.
We used to have I not many people will kind of agree with me, but when I was working in the schools, I did not like the community service
Mhm.
force for graduation. And because at the end of the day, people who really want to do community service
Mhm.
out of just because that's what they do, I feel that they do the best job anyway.
Correct.
Um, but you know, I did have to concede that it's only if you want to walk. So they had a choice. They still got the
Mhm.
degree. It was just in case if you wanted to walk across the stage,
Mhm.
that was what had to be done. I didn't like it. I still don't like it, but I understand that's what you have to do if you want to walk.
Mhm. Now, and I'm with you. I think that was when I was an undergrad. You had to do community service, get a credit for community service or something. And I don't agree with it being a part of that. I believe when you educate people enough, they understand why community service is important, and then they go and contribute where the community will get the best out of them. Right. And everyone benefits in that respect. Renee Charlene Simmons says, yes, especially when the company benefits from them. Michelle White writes, I would not call the person who wants to volunteer an intern. Even the person wanting to volunteer should have compensation offered. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't disagree.
yeah,
Shigarena, she says, it's a job, it's not volunteering, and interns have costs, parking, food, gas bills, just like everyone else. If they intern for these interns, if they interview for these internships. Well, let's be honest. Internships are costly to the person who's performing the work, the intern.
yeah.
Let's not act like the training offsets all the expenses that come with it. I've been a volunteer, right? I remember volunteering at a homeless shelter when I was in graduate school, and I couldn't find parking in the city, and I ended up getting a ticket for parking in an area I didn't realize. Maybe I should have looked more, right? Parking in an area I wasn't supposed to park in. They didn't pay my fine, and if I would have found the parking, they didn't offer to pay for the parking. I wasn't working in graduate school. I couldn't. I
Hmm.
was an international student. But those are the kind of things that was voluntary. Imagine internships. Imagine an intern, right? Probably working in a big major city, and you know how costly major cities are,
Yeah.
right? And it's again, I make the comparison to college athletes and people saying, well, they do get paid, they get an education. Folks, they still got to eat, they still got to clothe themselves. A lot of stuff like that. And Bert, you know better than me because I honestly, all I know is what I read. But you've been there. But they still have to support themselves.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that aspect. You know, I've had conversations with people under 50 who disagree with this. And it's okay to have your own opinion and disagree that internship. You know, you have people that say, oh, that's the problem. Everyone wants instant gratification. That's the problem. I had to intern. Why shouldn't you? If that's your attitude, and just imagine if our ancestors had that attitude, well, I was enslaved, you should have to go through it too. Think
Yeah.
about that, folks.
But it's almost similar to what you talked about earlier this week about tenure. I've been here long enough, so now I deserve the promotion. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I think we have to evolve. I think it gets tricky with certain things. Certain companies will start calling it volunteer opportunities, and
Mhm.
they're pretty much treating them like interns. You know what I mean? It's anyway for the people to get away with spending a dollar. I think some will exploit, but I agree with you. I think we need to start making it to the lines of it probably should be illegal, for certain things.
I would love someone who's been an intern or someone who is a business owner to kind of really let us know if they still believe that internships are necessary. Like if there's anyone in the audience, or you can tag someone, I would really like to know if they, I'll be honest, we have a small company, right? We've had an intern, and that intern got paid better than some of us who earn it. Trust me. Like it's for me, it's about fairness, right? And fairness is something that people don't equate to capitalism. And I don't think that it's necessarily true.
Yeah.
You have to treat people well. And who knows? You pay this person what they're worth, what they value themselves at, you may end up getting the best intern employee. Like there's another word, extern. So and when I was an undergrad, you had internship and externship. We had externships were the ones that got you paid. Internships were non-paid training. I'm all for externships, but at this point in 2022, I don't believe anyone, especially for college credit, should be working for free or credit only. Nachika Trotberg.
When teachers complete their practicums, they are not paid. Yep. That's the thing. And hey, some compensation should be happening.
And that's not okay.
Yep.
That's not okay. Mishka Fabulous, as a full-time employee, we're compensated for our training time. Why should we be working for free because some want to call it training? Sam Cat Place, she says, volunteering, you don't expect payment. The definition of volunteer is willfully given time without remuneration. Indeed, but I think, not my point, but someone else was saying if someone's, the point Larry was making was that the difference between forced versus volunteer, meaning you're volunteer. Right now, we're both volunteering to do this show, right? Yep. Even though we're being paid for it. His point was that people who volunteer to sign up for internships, not necessarily volunteer in the context that I was using it in terms of me volunteering at a homeless shelter. Shika Reyna says, I have to interview 10 intern candidates today, and it's rigorous. Whoever we choose will most definitely be paid, no question. And props to you, Shika. We love to hear that. Teresa Stewart says, I think an expectation has to be set on what the exchange should be for an intern, but they definitely should be paid. There we go. The expectation there. Yeah.
A conversation before, I think we're okay with some form of compensation that the intern is okay with. Yeah.
No, I definitely agree with that. I agree that it's a necessary conversation, but it really does bother me when I'm on LinkedIn. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I'm on LinkedIn and I see million and billion dollar companies looking for an internship, like it can be, and to them, it's like everybody should want to work for us. Everyone should want to do an internship with us.
Yeah.
And for people who are younger and want, they want this on their resume, they're saying, what? This is an opportunity to work for the largest financial company or largest media company. I'm jumping on this here. So to Teresa's point, I think can just fit a company on my resume. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure that is the way to go for the benefit of people. Seriously.
Yeah.
I think it's a struggle at that point. But Larry, if you as a running coach were bringing someone, let's say you had a young runner, right? And they wanted to learn coaching. How would you, and I'm saying young runner, say 15. They said, Coach, I had my injury, but I want to, work alongside you. I'm not going to be able to get back out for the next 10 months. How would you feel like treating them in that respect? They just want to learn from you. You're not in a position to pay. At that point, is it them volunteering, or are you like taking them under your wing? Like
it's I guess it's a bit of both. You know what I mean? Where you're trying to get them the knowledge to understand and what's not. And I think, this happens. And all I ask of people, whether it's parents, coaches, or athletes, whoever it is respect my time. You know what I mean? I respect yours, you respect my time, and we can get something out of it. Obviously, a lot of the work I do with the kids, anytime I have taking money when it was with a club, and it offset the cost of whatever had to be taking place. But most of the time, it's been unpaid. You know what I mean? I think that is the volunteer type work what we are okay with, because it's people giving their time and for betterment for the community on a whole.
Yeah.
But once it shifts to that, you have to make 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and you're not getting paid. I think that crosses a line.
Yeah, indeed. Absolutely. Michelle White, she says, internship is an opportunity for a person to gain skills that must meet the criteria per university requirements. As a business owner, I would not accept the student if I can't afford it. That's where I'm at. I want to pay people what they believe they're valued, but also how we value them. And if we can't afford them, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess the other thing is, and it's wrong. I want to make my point clear. But what happens now if, okay, well, we all got to get paid, and internships get cut by 2/3, and people don't get enough opportunities?
No, I mean, again, it's an interesting one, because I think we're at a place where opportunities should still exist in a capitalist environment. We're talking $1 billion companies who literally
Yes.
pay somebody thousands of dollars to train them. I mean, I think there's
money there. Yeah.
There's money to make it happen. It's just that it's been the norm for me. It's been the norm for so long that they see like, oh, they see it as a sense of entitlement, right? Rather than, no, things have changed. People should be paid for the work that they do, or training, as they would say it. Hadeline Stevenson Swan says, with time in lieu of flexi time surface as opposed to receiving pay.
But they're not an employee, so time in lieu kind of.
Yeah, if they're an intern.
How would that work? I'm interested in how would that work.
Yeah, tell me more, Hadeline. How would it suffice this? I'm trying to, help me out with that. Nicole Walker says, I did a paid government internship a few years ago while finishing my degree. I was going into a new industry. It was invaluable knowledge gain, and I was able to refer to it in interviews. Well, you were paid. Now, Nicole Walker, if you had not been paid, do you feel like the experience would have been the same? Teresa Stewart Larry.
The problem is some companies don't have a program where the intern will add value to the company so that the cost of training is offset. Good point.
And that's an issue there. They have to be given the opportunity to add value. If it's just training, like, well, let's be honest. Some companies look at interns as, you know what? For them, it's a community service. So for them, they're looking at social corporate responsibility, right? They're looking at, this looks good, like we're giving someone an opportunity. That's what it looks like for some of them. Oh, we've given tons of internships. We're just filling a gap. When honestly, it should be a mutually beneficial relationship both ways.
And to I want to say Nachika Trott's comment earlier when she talked about the teacher's practicum. One of the reasons why I didn't get my certification was at a time I could not afford to take 3 months unpaid to do it. You know what I mean? At the time, it was in the thick of the conscription fight, and the resources were needed, and you just couldn't. So if it was a paid one, I probably would have been a full-time teacher.
Yeah, interesting. Sam Cat Place said, this is where HR needs to step in and make sure roles are clearly defined and limits are set so interns are not taken advantage of and paid accordingly. If they don't, then I wouldn't want to intern there. And we'll wrap it up with Teresa Stewart. She says, change agent in a company needs to change the narrative with respect to unpaid interns where it still exists. So there are a few more. Shikarena says, pay is necessary. Sometimes interns need an entire new wardrobe to do these entire. Whoa, no, let's touch on that. No,
the audience is on point this morning. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. I recently had a job where the base pay was very low. No, I'm just gonna be. This is no disrespect to anyone. but the evidence is there. Statistics show, right? But paying somebody less than $40,000 in this climate is poverty level payment. Let's just be clear. That's not disrespectful, me trying to disrespect anyone that's on that spectrum, right? But there are people who are paid like $28,000, $30,000, right? And the majority of their pay is based on commission. These people are expected to have the best suits and clean shirts and this and that. How are you expecting people to have to pay bills, take care of themselves, and then, as Jikarana said, right, have an entire new wardrobe to do these jobs? To my point, thank you, talent, because again, I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful, but poverty level in Bermuda, according to talent, 48,000 a year. You cannot do this to people.
Yeah.
And that, to me, thank you for that point. James Birch, Larry.
Is there a way for people to intern at companies, not be paid, but they only do training or observation that isn't productive revenue generating work?
What would productive non-revenue generating work be, James? Look, folks, we have to take a quick we're going to do the news break. See, Leanna and Shara is not here to get us off, but we're going to continue this conversation after the news break. So let's do the news break. We'll continue the conversation because there's a lot of comments that we still haven't gone through. And we'll come back to your comment as well, James. So let's do the news break. Bear with us, folks. Let's see what happens when the ladies ain't in the house. The fellas just get carried away. Don't tell them. Here we go. All right, this is the Daily Hour News Break. Sorry about that, Larry. This is the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman. The Bermuda Police Service is aware of videos being circulated on social media depicting young people in school uniform engaging in unruly behavior. Should you receive these images, we are appealing for you to not forward them on and instead please delete them from your devices. In other news, on the 23rd of February, the Information Commissioner issued Decision 6/2022. Attorney General Chambers, this decision considered AG's Chambers' response to an applicant's request for records related to the cost associated with the legal challenge against same-sex marriage at the Court of Appeal. The Information Commissioner found that AG's Chambers was justified in its internal review decision to deny access to the requested records because she was satisfied that the records were created or obtained by AG's Chambers in the course of carrying out its functions, which meant the Petty Act did not apply to them. The Information Commissioner noted that limitations of the Petty Act, which prevent these records from being disclosed. The Information Commissioner explained in the decision that nothing in the Petty Act prevents the government or another public authority from proactively disclosing the cost of litigation throughout appeals or at its conclusion as a matter of good governance, which has happened in this case and other recent constitutional or public law cases. As a result, the Information Commissioner did not require the AG's Chambers to take any further action with respect to Decision 6/2022. Otherwise, well, it's Bermuda, so we don't know what the elements will bring us today, but do try to make it a great day anyway. That's your Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Days of the year. We've got to do days of the year, Larry. Let's see what the days of the year are, and because I folks, forgive me. See, this is what, again, you guys let Larry and I just get on here talking and days of the year. So it's World Book Day today, and I know my former colleague Nikita Robinson usually does a big thing on World Book Day. That means her birthday is around the corner. So happy birthday to the Nixter. It's also World Wildlife Day and, National Canadian Bacon Day. And we also have National Anthem Day. So what's the Bermuda National Anthem? Are we still God Save the Queen?
I don't know. Anyway, that's
okay. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to continue the conversation. Should interns be paid? Right after these messages, do not go anywhere. Hot conversation, and we're all in it. Back with us in a few.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's. I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
The history of everyday use of spices extends back thousands of years into antiquity. Since 1976, the Frontier Natural Foods Co-op has been bringing a wide range of exciting and authentic flavors to the table. A comprehensive range of ancient traditional herbs and spices produced organically and sustainably. The results are good news for the environment and more robust, fragrant essential oils in these natural seasonings. This month, we're featuring Frontier Natural Products, at least 95% organic salt-free lemon pepper. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
All right, welcome back to the Big Show. Larry Marshall Jr., myself, Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House Home Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. We're going to continue the conversation here, folks. The question of the morning was, should interns be paid? And you all bought the heat this morning. I'm telling you, you bought the heat this morning. So Nicole Walker, she actually answered the question. She said, yes, it would have. I asked, would it have made a difference if she was unpaid as a government intern? She said, yes, it would have. I actually gave up a better paying job, part-time job, 50% pay cut to take the internship because I understood the long-term value of the internship. So thank you for that, Nicole. James Birch actually went on. He said, is there a way for people to intern at companies not be paid, but they only do training or observation that isn't productive revenue generating work? And we did ask James, well, give us an example. And I believe he did give us an example. Let's see. He says that the only parallel of non-revenue generating training I know are when students go on the job for a day of work experience to see how companies operate. And fair enough. I get that. He said, although he goes on to say, although if the company promotes the internship program for public relations reason, then those interns are adding value to the company. And to me, that's one of the issues I have. It's like, it's this big PR thing about the company, not really about the experience for the child. Teresa Stewart, Larry.
For some companies, interns equal free labor, probably a tax write-off or corporate collateral at those higher level C-suites. Yep.
I hadn't even thought of that. Heavenly Stevenson Swan says, I was thinking if the intern is unable to receive pay, but they can flex their time. Would that be considered okay? For example, if you work past your hours, you can get it back by either coming to work late or leaving early. But that's still not. I get what you're saying, but they're still not being rewarded for the time that they're there anyway. So I think this is more about, compensating them while they're at work, not rewarding them for going above and beyond, if I'm getting you correctly.
Yeah. And without pay, how can we set parameters? You know what I mean? It's you have these rules that you want people to operate in, but without pay, it kind of can't happen.
Right. Because flex time would have to be an agreement, almost like an employee, right? I'm thinking at least. Yeah. Teresa Stewart says, I did an unpaid internship. It was called work study. As I was there during my business studies class, I reckon it was considered non-revenue generating task, to James Birch's comment. Interesting.
Yeah, I think we all kind of had that type of experience in college. And to be honest, I think, when it becomes that, it comes like I half did mine. I think I might have skirted around a few things just to make it happen so I can pass the course, but I didn't take it serious. Yeah, I'm being honest.
Mason, don't listen to Daddy, right? Michelle White says, I may have to jump off to attend budget breakfast shortly, but but add that if employers want value for the money paid, ensure that they add value to the internship process so students can give value back. And I appreciate that. Thank you for that, Michelle. And let's go. Hedley and Stevenson Swan says, thank you guys. I see your point. No, thank you for taking the time to explain, Hedley, and honestly, appreciate you always. We've got Samcat Place says research work I wouldn't expect to be paid, but you're still performing labor, no? Or explain why Samcat Place you wouldn't be expecting pay for research.
Would you be able to then publish your work from the research? Like, let's say we have scientists that come in to do work that they're not getting paid for at the biological station, and they use that study and they publish their study and they benefit from that study and it's their work. That's probably the only way I can see that being okay.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Teresa Stewart says the one challenge with on-the-job training is the exchange by the full-time employees to show the work being done. Anika DeShield says non-paid internships continue the economic disparity. Low-income persons cannot afford non-paid internships. And correct. I think that is, to me, is the biggest takeaway from me, Anika. Let's be honest. Regardless of how hard you work at an internship, it's no guarantee that you're going to get your dream job or opportunity. And I think that's what we can't miss in all of this. Obviously, nothing is guaranteed, but some people literally go into internships, accept these big internships at big companies and organizations, thinking that, one, it can lead them, because they use all the interns. They're like, well, Larry Marshall Jr., he interned here years ago, and now he's in the C-suite, right? They use people there. Or such and such interned here, and now look at them. They're over at such and such company. And, that could be the minority, which likely it is in most of the cases, right? That could be the extreme minority, because out of 1,000 interns, if you can only pinpoint, it's like what I used to always say about black folks, right? If you can pinpoint, like people would always say, what's the gentleman in IB in Bermuda? They would always use his name, Mr. Tannick, right? It would say, oh, well, you got Mr. Tannick. And I'm like, the fact that you can name that one person all the time tells me there's an issue.
Yeah.
Right? So if we can pinpoint certain people to say, well, they interned and they're doing well, that's part of the problem. Because you should be able to show me a booklet, if that's the case, of people who've gone on to achieve great things for interning at such and such organization.
Yeah.
Teresa Stewart, Larry.
Time is our most expensive offering as human beings. Could not say respect the time.
Can't get it back, folks. You cannot get it back. Samcat Place says most interns are tasked with project work. I was even tasked with processing payments every day. And we aren't talking slight paperwork either. Research. You should have been paid for it.
That research piece is I can understand the point. I still think that it should be paid, but if you're able to profit from that research, it's a line. I can understand.
You're allowed to take the project to use as your in your portfolio.
Yeah. Is it your intellectual property? You know what I mean?
Shigarena says, honestly, in my opinion, not being paid as an intern starts a cycle of not knowing your worth. Could make you desperate, so you'll take anything in your first real job. Folks, this is danger right here. This is a danger, because she's absolutely correct. And this happens when we continuously accept entry-level jobs, They see, oh, well, this is all they were at their previous job. We can, shortchange them. What I will tell people, and I'm no HR expert, and if there's HR experts out there, feel free to jump in. And I hope that you take the human side, not the corporate side, which some HR people tend to do these days, right? Because they want their jobs too. But the point I'm making is, we know full well companies have budgets to pay people better and treat people better. The only thing that's stopping them is the norm. What's been the norm? What they can get away with. And this is not the companies are all big bad people. There are a lot of companies giving people great opportunities and value people. This is not picking on the companies. I would not do that as one who owns a company. What I'm simply saying is, if we don't value ourselves, if we don't know our worth, nobody else is going to value us or show us our worth.
Yeah. And that Miss Rayna's comment is like, sorry, I don't know your first name, so I don't want to mess it up. It reminded me of my first real job outside of packing groceries. I was paid $4.95 an hour, which was the lowest out of everyone. I was a junior, but I was working the most hours in the company. Some of the workers, I was doing the job better than them, and they were full time.
Mhm.
And I started to question, you kind of start wondering, like, well, he's getting paid more than me, and there's your work. Obviously, things then became a bit bad, and a bad situation happened, and I left. But at that point, it was a valuable lesson that I realized I won't take a job where I'm not getting my value. You know what I mean? And I think that worth piece is very important. And when you take an unpaid internship, it kind of does not recognize the worth that you have. Sorry.
Interesting you say that, because and you made me think of packing groceries. Supermart. That's where I packed groceries as a child. I didn't even know you packed, right?
I packed groceries, yeah. Marketplace, Linda's.
I didn't.
But
Man.
this was before. But this was after. What I was just talking about was after packing groceries.
But when I packing groceries, I remember doing that job. And
I wanted sneakers, boy.
Supermart what was interesting. Supermart was the only one back then, if I remember correctly, where they actually paid grocery packers. No,
yeah,
they paid them 50 cents an hour, right? No. Again, today I'm probably looking at that like, were they serious? But keep in mind, traditionally, packing groceries was a job that was just based on tips. Now, what are the lessons I learned from that? I'm gonna share, because I don't want us to act like it's all bad. Here's some lessons I learned from packing groceries. Commission is a great opportunity to make a lot of money. Packing groceries is almost like a commission job, right? Because there's no set salary. The more groceries you pack, the better opportunity you have to make money. So there were lessons learned in it. But the reason I went to Supermart at that time was because they also were paying 50 cents an hour. Now, all it worked out to be most of the time was like $5 a week or something, right? But at that young age, you're like so young.
Yeah.
You don't know any better. You're thinking, oh, this is great. Now, I don't know if they still do it. Somebody can let me know if they do. But there were so many lessons in it. But you're being paid for the work you put in. So even packing groceries versus internship, you're being paid for the labor.
Yeah, you're getting something from, Yeah, and the hard part with that is there's no guarantee, because you did have some people, you're doing all this, taking this card out, and you're doing all this work, and saying, all right, thanks, fella, and check you later, be on your way. So, but that's still something then being unpaid, right?
Exactly. Teresa Stewart says, one thing, packing groceries was the vibe as a first job. Where'd you pack to, Teresa? She says, they sure did pay us. And I know where you packed then. And we had to clock in and clock out. I learned a lot about the expectations of me as an employee. And honestly, that was, people, we may look at it, it was low, but you learned so much from the experience, clocking in, clocking out. There was a set schedule for you to be there. But again, back to the question of the day, should interns be paid? Here's the question to leave the audience with today regarding this. Some of you are educators, parents, employers, right? Some of you are managers and leaders. The question to you right now, what advice would you give a young person who's looking for experience if internships were the only thing available? What advice would you give to a young person, right? What advice would you give to a young person if internships were the only thing available?
Yeah.
What you got for us, Bert?
I always turn it to a sports, right? And it really comes down to resources. And I can give an example about an athlete I coach who's currently in university.
Mhm.
And I want them to be able to take the summer off so they can train, rest, eat, gym, all of that.
Mhm.
But I understand that he needs those funds to work and whatnot.
Mhm.
I would always say, if I was given advice, is if it's such a great opportunity that it's and it's unpaid, you have to decide whether you really want to take it, because if it's truly beneficial, you may have to just swallow it up. It's not going to be all day, every day. But most importantly, I'll be like, really, if it's not worth your value, don't take it.
Yeah. If it's not worth your value, don't take it. Karen Simmons says packing groceries, if taken seriously, can be considered a job within your mindset, pride in your work, time management, and customer service. You know, to the question, what advice would I give to a young person if internships were the only thing available? I just think of myself, and I know everyone's not the same. And that's the first thing I have to understand, that I can't give the same advice to all people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing we all have to understand. But what I would have a conversation to see where their interests lie. And if they're in a position to take an internship and they have time, try to create something for yourself. I know people say, well, everyone's not got a business mind. Everyone's not an entrepreneur. But if you can do it for someone else for free, chances are you can do it for yourself. Now, I know people may say, well, doing it for myself doesn't have the same look on a resume. Folks, it's all about the portfolio that you're building. If you build working for yourself a portfolio that shows the work that can improve another establishment, and your overall goal is to work somewhere, then trust me, if you have it within you to go and start and do your own thing, the work you do for yourself. Now, an example. Someone really wants to break into IT. And I'm going to pick on her because she's in the audience. Don't let Teresa fool you. She's more than just a podcast host or working on IT. She does a lot on the side. She's a hustler. Hope she doesn't mind me calling her that. But what I mean by that is, the only thing available is internships in IT, and you have the ability to build computers and turn them on and do things on the side for people, build your portfolio.
Yeah. Record it, put it on YouTube. It's different ways now. It's so many different ways to kind of offset that. And you know how many under 21-year-olds are full-time at some sort of streaming now? Like it's so many different ways.
Yep. There you go. There's different ways to market yourself nowadays. James Birch says, I would say to them, understand what the minimum livable wage in that place is, and that you are always providing value to that company as well. Sean Smith says, would work for Warren Buffett for free to get access to his knowledge. He has an investment. I guess what you're asking is, would you consider an internship under Warren Buffett for free an investment? Again, going back to the point I made earlier, these rich companies, big companies, know that everyone should want to work for us. So I can't get interns to work for free. The only way we're going to change that mindset is if we understand and value ourselves. Like, I value Mr. Buffett, but he should value my time and my ability as well.
Is he going to give you some stocks at the end of the internship? Sure. Right. Yeah,
if you work really well, is there a guarantee that you're going to get an opportunity to, exceed and go on? Is having his name attached to your resume going to do wonders for you? Like, we need to see stats on how this works. Shami Richardson says internship is for a period of time. Consider seeking part-time work during that time to compensate for lack of pay. Yes, and as we said earlier in the show, as someone explained on LinkedIn, internships are usually for a short period, 3 months, 6 months, something. I know a lot of internships are summer, and then some companies do an internship for a year, right? there is an end date to an internship. The challenge with this comment, Sharmi, is that some people don't have the time to also do a part-time job.
Yeah. And I gave the example with the school. You was expected to do your full-time learn for the certification, which is a lot of work. It's very detailed while working a full school schedule while teaching. You didn't have time.
It's not easy, folks. Teresa Stewart says, I'd also recommend they get clear on what their life's vision and purpose is. Not everyone is meant to be an employee in the same way. Everyone is not to be an entrepreneur. Indeed. Sam Cat, please, for you there.
There is the liability aspect to volunteers versus interns. Yep. No organization is going to want to be held liable for any decisions made by them, so partners will be set. Parameters will be set.
Yeah, Shikarena says, if you're young and have an uncomplicated life, do it unpaid. But have a paid hustle 3 nights a week, waiting tables, hostessing, etc. You can do that when you're young. Yep. Teresa Stewart says, I don't think Warren let someone work with him for free. To be honest, Sean Smith, I think he'd be a person to put it back on the person to figure out how they can do for him what he can't do for himself. I love that. Teresa and Marie, Larry.
Internships are sometimes required to complete professional certifications. Yep.
Yeah, they are. And I think that's part of the issue that we was mentioned by Nachika Trott earlier, teachers not being paid during that time. It's a tough one because, again, to me, this conversation is what it is because it's been the norm for so long. It's been the norm for so long that interns work for free. So that's why it's okay. Like so many people are okay with it. Karen Simmons says, I would advise my 2 children that they should know their worth, respect their capacity, value their time, and you should be paid for all these qualities you bring. Carmen Jones asks, is an apprenticeship the same as an internship? Go ahead, Larry.
No, I'm interested in the answer for that question. I really don't know.
Quick question: apprenticeship, isn't that like shadowing, and do they get paid? I'm not familiar.
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they get paid, and they're shadow, and then they
Yeah. Okay. Teresa Stewart says, back to the companies, there needs to be a clear deliverable for internships so that the intern understands what they are working towards. That can be sold to them as a benefit for free work. Yeah, like college athletes, they're sold, a free education. I agree with you, Jamal. I guess what I'm saying is that prior to taking the internship, they need to consider the options for with part-time work. Yes, thank you for that, Carmen. And Teresa says, I believe apprentices are paid, Carmen, but they are different. Apprentices are full-time employees of the company. So does that mean that they get benefits? Interesting conversation either way, folks. If you appreciated this discussion this morning, honestly, I hope it's helpful in Bermuda and for Bermudians especially. Please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're going to take a quick break and then come back and wrap it up. So appreciate the contribution to this morning's conversation. Again, apologies, Daniel Augustus was unable to make it due to some technical challenges, but we will definitely be rescheduling to have him back on. Let's take a quick break, and then we're coming back. We're going to wrap it up. We've got a little daily play for you as well. All right, little daily play. I think Larry's got this one. It's easy. It's easy, trust me.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
Alrighty, it's welcome back. Thanks again to One Communications, People's Pharmacy, Medical House, and Lenders for ensuring we're able to do this for you on a daily basis. And thanks again to the audience. Again, if you appreciated today's discussion, found it helpful, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share these conversations, discuss them around the water cooler, family functions. This is the only way our community improves. Time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Larry, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, it's a name that place today. So it's sports related, naming that place. We're just going to tell you name the team. Here we go. Folks, help him out if you and it's a hint in this. What is the name of the club Pelé is known for playing for in the United States?
The Cosmos, New York Cosmos. All right.
He got it, folks. I mean, he couldn't say Cosmos. He had to say New York Cosmos as well. I mean, yeah, he had to say New York.
And wasn't the Bermudian Randy Horton played for them too, right?
And that's why I asked the question, because I want to say many Bermudians may not remember that Randy Horton, former Speaker of the House, actually played with Pelé for the New York Cosmos. And Larry, wasn't it you and I at one of Connor Smith's games in New England where we was next to some guys that played with him? Was it you?
Yes. Yeah.
We were at one of Connor's games back in the day at New England Revolution. And I think something happened because you're an AC Milan fan and you heard them talking. And they said they played with the median guy, Randy Horton, for the Cosmos. I don't remember the names of the people though, but you probably do.
I don't either. But I remember that conversation.
Yeah, you don't remember? Yeah. So I remember that. But let's go to a comment. I don't want to get in trouble from Cherie. So Cherie Dill has a comment. My goodness, this is long, Cherie. It depends to the question of the day. It depends. The experience from an internship can be invaluable and set you on a career track. It can be considered as an investment, and in many cases, it's more of a service by the company than the intern. It takes valuable time to sit down with the intern, show them, train them in the area. So in some areas, it's less about knowing your worth and more about knowing what you want and doing what it takes to get there. Thank you so much for that, Cherie, for your contribution. And Larry, any final thoughts on today's episode?
First off, big props to the audience. I think they gave a lot of different perspectives and things that I hadn't considered, so I'm grateful for that. And it's just one of those things to consider going forward, especially if you have a young person, college age, to really just plan and have a track and to see how it can work out, whether you have to take it unpaid or paid internship.
Yeah, I think there's lessons in this, right? I think there's lessons in this. I'm going to be first to tell you, I don't think internships are all bad. I think it's up to the company. It's up to the individual and the opportunity. And if you see opportunity in that internship, if you believe that it's going to be worth your while for the short and long term, then I say go for it. I'm not here to discourage you. Well, there's another side to it where I feel like there are corporations out there that use this to their advantage. And that's what I don't like.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, that is where I think we have the challenges. Anyway, it's time for us to say peace. So thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. He's Larry Marshall Jr. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, please make it a safe and great day. Actually, Larry, this is your last day of the week with us, right?
Yep, just know I'm undefeated, Sherry. You know what I'm saying, and I'm mic drop. But no, for real, thank you. It was nice, something different. Special shout out for my wife for really supporting and helping to get done.
Absolutely, champion of wives. But no, thank you for coming. I know it's tough doing 4 days in a row, and always some people may wonder, oh, where's the other guy in the picture? His hair, folks, his hair. And you got 4 days out of him. All right. Don't forget, tomorrow we're giving away that $500 prize, and then we may just.
So I'm eligible for that since tomorrow I'm not working?
Nah, bro. No.
Okay. All right. I'm just making sure.
He's not eligible, folks. So a better chance of you winning. Make it a safe and great day. Peace out.